Hey YouTube, today we're going to start a restoration project on a brass bell. Now this brass bell I got from while I was in Denmark one time, back in the I'm going to say the 1970s, mid 1970s, and I saw a lot of them in homes there back in Denmark on the main peninsula of Jutland. So I picked one up, had it in front of my house when I lived in California, and it's been sitting in storage since we moved here to Idaho. So now I am going to get it restored so I can put it up here at my house here in Idaho. So we'll take a look at this. So this is the brass bell, and you see approximately how big it is here. It sits mounted, it's very heavy, sits mounted to the wall, and there's the mount. And you can see it doesn't look much like brass anymore. And that once it's sitting on the wall here, of course it's going to ring. So it's got a clanger in there. There's the clanger. Still in there. Not rusted out or anything. So we're going to begin the cleanup process, and first I'm just going to be wiping it down with something a little cleaner. Got some mineral spirits I'm probably going to start with, and we'll see what that ends up like, and then we'll go from there. And it is magnetic, or non-magnetic. We can see here, magnet does not stick to it. Here's the steel part right here, the chain's still good. So yes, it is not magnetic. Oh, there's something there, probably the clanger or something. Okay, all right, so I'll get back to you after I start wiping this down, and we'll see what we end up with the first cleanup. So we've got everything apart. So now next I'm going to see if there's any damage, which the only damage I found is a break right here. And you can see that break right there. It's not going to be much of a factor because it only holds on this whole kind of angel cherub thing here. And there's a screw that goes behind it, attaches here, and that screw screws on. So I probably will not need to do anything because the screw is going to hold that together. If it's a factor, I'll look at seeing what I can do to fix that. There's no real pressure on it. Another thing, I like to work when I'm cleaning something like this, especially with liquids, with a tray that's going to catch the liquids, so you can have this on your workbench and not have to worry about getting anything on your carpet or on the wood of your workbench. So it makes cleanup a lot easier because everything stays contained here on the tray. I have another tray. It's a large aluminum tray that is used for like restaurants for serving. You can get them, they're a little bigger than this. You can get them at restaurant supplies. Amazon may even have it, and they're usually not that expensive. Even today, you might pay, I don't know, maybe about 20 bucks for it. You can check that, but they're worth their weight in gold because you're going to be able to contain everything. It's made of metal. It's going to last forever. This plastic will eventually break down. As you can see, I haven't used this one before. It's pretty clean. You start using harsh chemicals and different things on it, they do tend to break down over time. But next step is going to be starting to wipe all this stuff down. So I've been rubbing down with a combination of a brush. This is a kind of a hard brush. I've got my mineral spirits here, just standard mineral spirits you can buy over at Home Depot. And I've rubbed the plate down here with first the brush, got the dust, the initial dust off of it, and been wiping it down with quadruple-aught steel wool. You want to use quadruple-aught or fine, extra fine steel wool because you don't want to cause any damage or visible scratches. And it's come out pretty nice, but I want to do more. I want to get this, I want to get in here. It's very difficult to get in here and clean up this oxidation in here. This is pretty tough, and that's going to be hard to get. Really can't get in there with the steel wool. So I've got this dragon, and he's got some little things on him too that are going to be hard to get into. I wiped him down and brushed him down. I'm going to try and use some 30% vinegar, put in a small container, and I'll put this guy in there for a few hours and see what he ends up looking like. And we'll get an idea then of what we can do with these other pieces, which I haven't touched yet, but this gives us a good idea of what we're dealing with. A lot of people might say, hey, this is fine, but I want to clean it up a little more. I want to get some of this oxidation out here and get the brass, the real brassiness to come out. So next is going to be to put this guy in a 30% vinegar solution, which is an acid, and we'll keep an eye on it just to make sure that nothing doesn't eat it up, but I don't think it will. We should see some reaction in just a few hours. All right, so let's check out how that's going to go. So we've got our 30% vinegar. This is some that I've used on other things. I reclaim it. I run it through a filter. You can run it through something like a coffee filter. Works really good to get the material out. And I've got our little dragon sitting in there. So we're going to let him sit in there for a while. I see some stuff happening in there. I put a little water in there as well. So I found that the water, sometimes when you add a little bit of water, not much, there's just like a very, very low, thin layer of water I threw in there first, and then the rest it's probably like 90% of the 30% vinegar and then a little bit of the water. So we'll leave him in there, and he's already lightening up. We'll see what happens in a few hours. So here's the result of just 2 hours in the bath here of the 30% vinegar. So you can see the other side that wasn't face up. That didn't get to be quite as nice looking. So we'll just turn that over there and let that sit a little bit. And when that's done, give it another half hour or so, and then rub it down with a little steel wool, and let's see the result. So 2 hours in the 30% vinegar, and I rubbed it down with some quadruple-aught steel wool, and our little dragon here turned out fantastic. So we got some of the dull, in the grooves, which really looks nice. And then the high marks, the high portions are brightened up with the steel wool. And this gives it a really nice brassy look. So this is going to look really good. So with that, we're going to go ahead and do the rest of the parts. I've wiped them all down now with mineral spirits. So I'm going to let them sit here a little bit and start start getting the tray set up to put our 30% vinegar in there. And for the bell portion, I'm going to use one of these bottles here, one of these 1 gallon. This one is from windshield fluid. Drew a little mark here, how wide I have to make it. It's going to allow that bell to sit in there just perfectly so that we can get this bell done. So I'm going to cut that, get it set up, and next is going to be the vinegar soak. So we've got our bell soaking in the 30% vinegar solution. And what I did was, because the very top of the bell just was a little higher than our level of our solution, I wrapped a paper towel around the top, and that's now going to wick the vinegar up and around, and that'll keep that bathing in the solution. So should work pretty well. So we're going to do this bell first, then we'll get on with the other ones here, because I'm using quite a bit of solution here for this bell. I'm going to have to turn it upside down because I've only been able to fill the inside of the bell portion just about halfway. So we're going to finish it by turning it upside down, put it back in here, and let it finish up. So we'll look at it in a few hours. So I poured the old vinegar off into an empty bottle. You don't want to mix it with the new stuff. And this is what our bell looks like now. So this is pre-rubbed down with our double-aught steel wool. This is just run-of-the-mill steel wool that I picked up at Home Depot or Lowe's. And there you see it. It's super fine quadruple-aught. That's what I prefer. Like I said, it reduces the scratches. So I'm going to take a look now at this. Did a pretty good job. Pretty good job. And we're cleaned up inside as well. I'm not really going to go in and chase the inside other than with some steel wool, because everything looks pretty good in there. Okay, so as you can see, wrapping the paper towel around the inside really did take care of most of it. There's a little bit up in there, but we'll get that out with steel wool because it's all softened up and ready to move. You can see it's moving. So we'll do a little steel wooling now and see what happens. So we got our bell fresh out of the vinegar. I've left the vinegar that's on here. So we're going to see what happens now when we start applying a little steel wool to this and see what we're going to look like. It's actually looking pretty good there. Pretty good. Okay. Already clanging. Okay. Just for a quick perspective on what's going to be happening with this. I'd say we're looking pretty good. That is coming out Really nice. After we're finished rubbing it down, we will, with the steel wool, then we'll run it in hot water. So this is a matter of just how much you want to be rubbing, you know? Because obviously I can bring this up more and more. So I'll probably hit it and come back to it, hit it and come back to it. And I'll show you when we're done. Okay. So we wipe this down with hot water. We went ahead and did a nice hot water bath for just a couple of minutes under running hot water. Really looks good. I'm happy with this. On the inside, looks just fine. What I did was just take a couple drops of break-free oil, any kind of metal preservative oil that you might have. You want to make sure that not only do you hot water rinse, and it gets in there into the metal parts, so we got our metal holding the clanger there, that's steel. So that steel in there, you want to make sure and oil that all the way down to its base, and that now is not going to rust out because we have a nice protective coat of oil on there. Okay, so let's see what we have next. So next we're going to have the soaking of the rest of our parts. And as you saw before, once these have soaked for 2.5, 3 hours, we do need to turn the parts over. And I've got this here, which just fits everything perfect. It's just high enough that everything's going to be covered. So I'm going to go ahead and add our vinegar here and let these parts begin their soak. And you just want to get them covered. When you got a large volume of vinegar like this laid out, you do want to have good ventilation, because it'll bother everybody who comes out into the shop garage, and it can even come into the house depending on how close your garage is to your house, if it's connected. So yeah, you will definitely want to have good ventilation. I'm going to get a fan here, and winter time's over, spring's here, so it's middle of April. Time to get the fan out, put the heaters away, and here we go. So this is all gonna set. This one, you remember, we rubbed down with mineral spirits, just see where that went. Came out okay, but we can do better. So we're gonna let the 30% vinegar do its work. Also wear gloves, because this stuff is caustic. It doesn't react real fast. It's not like it's going to burn you the minute you touch it, but you leave it on your skin, yeah, it will create an acid burn. So wear your nitrile gloves. They work great. Get these at Harbor Freight. You can get them in a pack of like 100 pair or 300 pair. And they're $12 or whatever. Sometimes you can get them on sale for $9. Well worth it. I stock up on these because you can use them all kinds of stuff. Protect your hands. Protect all of you. All right, we're gonna let these soak and then come back to it. So we've run into a little bit of an issue with this piece. And what you can see here is we got this copper color, and which means that the copper is showing up or coming out of the combination of the zinc and a little bit of lead that makes up brass. So this piece having slightly different consistency, and maybe the copper content, you know, was a little more and a little less on the zinc. What I tried to do was rubbing it down with the quadruple aught steel wool didn't really do much. And you can see here, this is going to be an issue because it's not really moving. So I took the wire wheel to it. I have a fine wire wheel that I often use, and we've got the brass coming back. So what I'm going to do, because there's so much depth here to this, I'm going to put it in the bead blaster just to see what it does. So we've got the bead blaster fired up. We're going to put it in there, and we're going to see what kind of results we come out with once we bead blast it. So we'll get to that. So I went over to the wire wheel after the bead blaster and hit it lightly on the wire wheel, and it really did bring back our brassiness. So what I'm going to do now is, because it seems a lot brighter than what some of our other pieces are looking like, seems to me it's got a little bit more shine to it. So I'm going to take the quadruple aught steel wool and give it a rub down and see if that makes it look a little better, so to equal more of this finish. And it turned out good. So brushing it down again with the steel wool brings it more to a finish similar to what we've got over here. So that's what I'm going to do to the rest of this piece here. It's going to go in the bead blaster. At least this portion here. I'll probably disconnect this so that we're not having this dangling around and hitting stuff. So we'll take it off and get this finished up. All right. So here's the grinder that I have a wire wheel on. This one's starting to get worn down, but I have another up here ready to go. This is your friend here for doing any kind of metal restoration work. This will probably be the most useful tool in your shop. And like I said, you know, we ran into an issue with getting into these crevices and stuff here, and had to use the bead blaster for that. Again, bead blaster, there you go. It's also going to be one of your most versatile tools. I got this at Harbor Freight. I did a whole video on it a few videos back, so you can check that out. It's well worth the price. I think they're like $239 now over at Harbor Freight. You got to build it, but follow the directions. You can have it built in about 2 hours, 3 hours, and that's just alone. If you have a buddy, probably goes a lot quicker. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit this on the wire wheel and hold the camera with the other hand and see if you can see what a change we get. So we'll do this portion here. Don't recommend doing this one-handed, because if you get this caught the wrong way, it will fling the part across the room. So just to see here what we've got, look at the difference. I mean, night and day. So make sure you get a grinder with a wire wheel, and you know, I like something like half horsepower if you're really going to be pushing on it. You need that half horsepower. Don't get the little quarter horses. Get yourself at least a half horse or bigger. All right, I'm going to finish this up and we'll see the results. Okay, that turned out really nice. We're looking good. Got all our pieces here. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm either going to bead blast or wire wheel these screws. If I can find my little wire basket, it's a lot easier to bead blast them, clean them all up. If not, I'll just put them on the wire wheel. They'll clean up real nice. This chain, I'm going to go ahead and bead blast it, and then I'm going to use this copper finish from Krylon. It's kind of a matte satin metallic copper finish. Really looks good. I've done it on some other videos. You can look back and see what the copper looks like on some other things that I've refinished. And the screws are going to be treated with Break Free. I love Break Free. You can buy it on Amazon. It's great stuff. It's a fantastic gun oil. I've been using it since I went through gunsmithing school back in the 80s. Fantastic. You know, you put it on, wipe it off, and it will protect whatever metal you want to protect as far as, you know, your steels. So that's the next step, and we'll be ready to put this beautiful piece of artwork together. All right. So here's the finished product. Looks pretty good. I think this is going to be suitable to hang up in our living room. It looks nice. So good job, I think. And we have a nice showpiece again. So this is the final resting place of our bell now that it's complete. And it can go up with all our other goodies here. And you can see the bell turned out really nice. So very nice. I like the way it went. So all good. It should sit there and shine like that for a good amount of time. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you learned something. If you have other ideas, put them in the comments. And as we always say, life is good here in Idaho. Thanks for watching. Live free or die, folks.